Trump hush money trial. Let's find out about it. What's going on?
All right, we are awaiting a decision from the judge in Donald Trump's New York criminal trial on whether the former president violated his gag order. Here's a live look inside the courthouse. The prosecution alleges the former president violated his gag order several times by speaking and posting about potential witnesses when he was instructed not to.
He does this every time. Just put him in handcuffs over it. How many times can he literally be in contempt of court, insulting the judge, insulting the judge's family, encouraging death threats and murder attempts on the judge and their families, and he just slides out of it like a greasy shit through a loose butthole? How does he keep getting away with it?
Asking for 10 posts from his account to be removed. Meanwhile, the defense says Trump did not believe his actions violated the gag order.
Well, CBS News national correspondent Errol Barnett is just outside of the courthouse now following the trial for us. And also, Jessica Levinson is here with some legal analysis. She's a CBS News legal contributor and a professor at Loyola Law School. So listen, Errol, we'll start with you. What more can you tell us about the judge's, well, the judge hasn't made a decision yet. So what more can you tell us about what's been unfolding in the court?
Yeah, Vlad and Anne-Marie,
I'm proud of that
connect
one.
with you again. There have been some fireworks this morning. The judge, Juan Merchan, has reserved a decision on this gag order, but we do expect an update on that imminently. So as soon as we have that, I'll share that with you. Effectively, the prosecution has argued that Donald Trump has violated the court's gag order some 10 times by way of his Truth Social posts. And they say those posts...
Okay, when does this become serious enough that it actually matters, though? Come on. This is like... number 5 time this year Trump has like caused death threats to like the daughter of the judge presiding over his case, and it doesn't cause anything because the judges are like not wanting to look biased or too attached to the case. I wonder if that's why Trump does it. I wonder if Trump goes so over the top in these cases so that any action taken by the judge would look like the judge is operating on some sort of like personal or political basis. And that could hurt the judge's career in the future. And thus that's like the pressure he's attempting to leverage. Like, well, now that I've insulted you and your family, if you harshly judge me, it's going to look personal and unfair. At least that's what his fans will claim. And that'll be enough.
Have aimed to intimidate potential witnesses and jurors as well. As part of evidence, they point to a Trump Truth Social post from last week, which quotes a conservative commentator on cable news discussing prospective jurors. And they then connect the dot with a day last week where a woman who was a prospective juror said she couldn't serve, there was too much media pressure, and that her relatives had already identified her through the press. And so the prosecution is...
Oh, I think Trump lucked out big time, too. One of the jurors on this case, at least one, is like a huge Trump fan. I don't know how we found out who it was or whatever, but their social media got found, and they're like a QAnon poster. So at least one of the people on the jury of one of his trials, it may not be this one. I don't know if this one even has a jury, to be honest. But one of the trials that he has, the jury... Oh, no, they just said this one has a jury. What am I saying? One of the jury members is like a full-on QAnon Trump supporter. So that's not great. Not great.
Saying that's just one example of how Donald Trump, as a defendant in this trial, is violating the gag order, which is meant to protect the procedure and to protect the people who are part of the process. When Donald Trump's lawyer stepped up to...
Dude, imagine trying to tell Donald Trump he's not allowed to yap.
Make his case, he argued that that was not the case at all. Mr. Trump has a right to defend himself, but Judge Juan Merchan said, defend himself against what? Point me to the comments from these either jurors or prospective witnesses that the president is responding to, and Mr. Blanchard...
Yeah, legal charges are not like a defamatory claim or allegation. They're legal charges. You can't try to claim you're just defending yourself when insulting and attacking the judge of your case. They're not making a baseless accusation against you. They're charging you legally.
Couldn't do that. He then went on to say that the judge to Mr. Blanche...
Well,
that he's
not even the judge. The prosecution is prosecuting Trump. The judge is just presiding over the case.
In credibility. You know, the judge was raising his voice as he said that, and the judge then called for a short recess while he reserves decision. So in just this first few moments of today, it's Donald Trump seeming on his back foot with his legal team, unable to explain why he needs to make these types of comments about prospective witnesses like Michael Cohen or potential jurors.
So, Jessica, let's talk about...
Dude, I really wish that more people gave a fuck about all that shit that came out with Michael Cohen, or the shit that came out just generally with the whole like Russia stuff, the like exposés with like Stormy Daniels. I feel like all of that getting chalked up by the average American as a nothing burger is the perfect example of like, if a scandal is just too complicated, no one will give a fuck. It's just that simple. They'll pretend it never happened if it's too complicated to understand and be outraged about. And like a concise and snappy way. And so because there was no like convenient conviction that you could point to outside of like Trump had fall guys on his campaign that took the convictions with the whole Russia thing, for example, because Trump himself didn't end up behind bars, it's viewed as a nothing burger, despite the fact that like Trump's campaign guys went to prison because they did collude with Russia to get Trump the presidency. There was just no confirmable evidence that Trump knew what they were doing. He totally just didn't know that they were, breaking the law behind the scenes, risking their entire futures to get him elected. They were just that good of campaign guys. They were just such big bros. They were willing to go to federal prison for Donald Trump to get him elected by colluding with foreign nations. They were just such good friends of his. They were willing to take that fall for him. He didn't even know that they were doing it for him, guys. He didn't even know. He didn't even know that they were working that all out. He didn't know. They were just such good guys. They did it all behind his back. They won him the election, They were such good friends of his. They didn't even know. He was just a little birthday boy, and they got him a present.
Means
what we heard in the courthrroom. I mean, what do you make of these? I don't think you're supposed to be that annoying to the judge this early on.
And this is a judge. I mean, a few of us.
He's done this 4 times. Why are we pretending to be surprised at this point? If there's going to be another Trump trial, he's going to insult the judge and the judge's family too. If the judge has like close family, kids, anything like that, they're definitely on the chopping block for Trump's insults on Truth Social. Like, why are we pretending like this is surprising anymore? Donald Trump is like either self-destructing or actually playing 4D chess, and like knows that if he's so antagonistic to a point, the judge might go easier just not to look biased. He might unironically be trying to play that game of 4D chess, or he's just that much of a loudmouth. I can't tell you.
Have ever been standing before a judge. I never have, really, I don't think. But I just can't imagine any kind of belligerence or anything when it comes to a judge sitting on a bench.
So it is really extraordinary. I think Errol in his excellent reporting used the word fireworks. You never want to be here, at least if your goal is to try to not annoy the judge. And if your goal, however, is not to argue to the audience in the courtroom, but to argue to the audience outside the courtroom, then maybe what's happening isn't quite as bad for the former president. So I think we need to kind of separate the legal from the political here. Legally, he is a criminal defendant inside.
I think this is Trump recognizing how successful the "he is a persecuted truth teller" is narrative, right? Most people have an inherent distrust of the law and the government, and so he can frame how much legal trouble he's in as the establishment trying to stop him because he's so close to fixing everything. And unfortunately, that strategy is one of Trump's most popular rhetoric strategies in regards to his approval rating, going up and whatnot in the wake of that.